perpetrator of misinformation during the pandemic has been the United States government. Now we have the definitive Cochrane review. What do you do with that review? Cochrane is the most authoritative evidence body in all of medicine and has been for decades. Do you just ignore it, not talk about it? Which is unforgivable, and that is the weaponization of medical research itself.
Well, g'day, folks. How you going? Hope you're having a good day. Hang on, I'll reach over to the light on this side and turn that on, see if it makes any difference whatsoever. Well, there you go. It does turn on. How's your Friday been? Been pretty nice day here, I've got to say. It got a little bit warmer than I had first anticipated. And happy Australia Day to you, if you are indeed celebrating Australia Day today, as many happen to be. DM was first in. Thank you, DM. Just after 6 o'clock, you're a bit keen. Gary Holmes, hello, mate. Hi, Sharon. Oh, yeah. Happy Australia Day, Sharon. How cool is that? Davo, nice to have you on board, mate. Laura sends their best. Thank you, Vince, for updating the front page. And I'm going to bring the front page up shortly, folks. We're going to have a bit of a chat about it. Keefe. Hey, the Roys. I hope everybody's all right. And Dave, what's happened here? Heard that Bert the Roy left us? What? Can't have been a Roy then. He must have been a Ralph. No, Roy would leave us unless it meant shuffling off this mortal coil, I don't think. But anyway, I could be wrong. Maybe I said something. It does happen, you know. Hello, Paul. Hey, Kate. Barbara's in. Margot's in. Who else has popped in tonight? Harm, thank you very much for your email. I hope you got mine back, mate. Thank you for offer there. Keep watching. Also, Will and Kay. There we go. The winners of the Limerick competition, if memory serves. Hello, guys. I hope your prize has turned up. I think it would be by now, or won't be very far away if it hasn't. Don't forget the audio. I think everybody's hearing me tonight. I have all the appropriate gauges jumping up and down and bumping in the correct fashion. So fingers crossed that's what's actually going on. Hello to Phil. Hope you're all right, brother. Everything going well down there. And to the fat Sinead O'Connor. Yep, she definitely passed away. That certainly happened. What else? Hello, Sunflower. Sonique. Oh, we've got Veronique and Sonique. That's very nice, I must say. Although Sonic Services sounds a little... Oh, no, I'm not going to go there. If you Google it, no, don't Google it. You don't know what you're going to come up with. Hello, Marianne. Hello, everybody else who I probably haven't got to. Andrew, Appy. Daniel was in there too. So g'day all. Hope you're all having a bloody great day of it. All right, Voice of Freedom website. Vince mentioned it. He has done a little bit of an update, and here is what we are doing. Now, right on the front page at the moment, you will see that there is this excess mortality attributed to heat and cold, a health impact assessment study in 854 cities in Europe. It's published in The Lancet. Now, this is on the front page of the Voice of Freedom website, vofhq.com. It might be hard to see the writing down the left-hand side of the two illustrations that we have here, but they are countries. So starting at the top, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Iceland, goes all the way down to, this is a European study, bearing in mind, so it goes down all the way alphabetically down to Spain. I want you to have a look at both these documents over the course of the show if you can. You can blow them up on your own device and inspect them. You'll see down the bottom, bouncing there, it says, "What will this teach you?" So hopefully this will be an exercise in something that it can teach you. That is the theory. We'll talk about it again at the end of the show. Somebody please remind me so I don't sign off without doing it. I'll remember to put VOFHQ at the bottom of my page and remember to go back to it. Because there's a bit more it'll have to do with VOFHQ in the not too distant future in this evening's show as well. We'll talk about a few different things. All right. First of all, because I know they have other things that they have to get onto tonight, I would like to make very welcome a couple of lads who have turned into not just regular folks that I have a bit of a chat with on this show, but they've actually turned into friends, and I'm very pleased to welcome them back on the show. The brothers Offe. Oh, you've got a big lag there, mate, with that sound. I think we might have to be a bit careful there, although it seems like it's clear.
Hello, how are you?
Michael's set up. Paul's there too, mate. You're looking all good in the hat. I do like the shirt. The colour is spectacular.
How's it going?
How are you both going?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you? Are you hearing us all right?
Yes, mate. Hearing you perfectly well. There does seem to be a bit of a lag, but that could be put down to a number of different things. So we'll just pressure on with the internet, regardless. All right. So we had a big date coming before us on Monday, and it is still coming. It is still a big date. A lot of things have happened since you boys have last been on the show. We've been able to raise a little bit more money in the fight to get you reasonable, decent representation in this Supreme Court matter. And thank you to all the Voice of Freedom viewers who've helped contribute along the road to that. So there have been a few updates since we got together. Michael, maybe you want to bring us up to date initially with where things currently stand. And for those people who were thinking of joining us in Canberra on Monday, let me just put the brakes on that. Neither Paul nor I will be going to Canberra on Monday. There is a reason for that. Been advised that the courts will hear this matter as a video link matter on Monday. There's a variety of reasons that could be, but that means that Paul doesn't have to. Well, he never had to turn up anyway, but it's good form to turn up when your life's in the balance. And if any, we know there were quite a number of people who were planning on coming along to help support Paul through that on Monday, including a number of other freedom media types. So we'll put the brakes on that now. You don't need to come to be in Canberra on Monday, although if you would still like to go along and show your support for Paul, the court, I think you probably will be able to get into the public gallery of the court while the video hearing proceeds. So if you just want to let them know and you still want to tag along, we'd love to have you. But if you were traveling great distances to be there, then maybe just make it a bit of a day trip or two if you don't have to spend the money and you don't feel the urge to go to Canberra and wear your winter woolies for a couple of nights. That's about the best way to describe it, I think, isn't it, boys?
I'd say so, yes.
Yeah. All right, so what's the change here? What's going to happen and where are we standing with legal aid?
Legal aid. Thanks to everybody that's been supporting throughout the entire community Australia-wide. We've been able to get enough funds raised to finally start getting a lawyer of good standing to give us a hand with it. And that's also much thanks to the lawyer and the barrister that he's got on board that are eager to put a lot of effort in for probably a fraction of what they would usually get in return. So that's so it's certainly a Australia-wide community supported process. So thanks to everybody for that, for sure.
It's important to understand that we haven't raised enough money. All we've done is raise enough money to interest some people.
Basically a teaser.
Yeah, basically a teaser. But thankfully, these guys are very experienced. Guys and girls are very experienced, and I think at least they will look at the evidence that will be presented by way of defence, and that's a big step up from where we were at, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It seems like the system doesn't work quite the way one would expect, but it's been, I suppose 6 months of beating around the bush, not really getting very far as an actual defence with the way we were dealing with it. But that wasn't really our choosing in the first place, but that's what the courts sort of required in the circumstances that we didn't have a lawyer on the books. So now, now it's really reassuring that we do have someone on board that I think will do it justice and actually go by the concept of justice, which is probably where the shortcomings of the system.
And they have some exceptional history in the defence in Supreme Court matters. So they are very well known within the court system, within the legal system, and we are very lucky that they have endeavoured to hear a case to come and help Paul, and have been able to, at least in this instance, step up this far and see what can happen on Monday. So no need for people to travel, as I say again, to Canberra. This will now take place as a video link hearing. But if you are down there, or if you want to go along and show some support for the rather embattled young man that you see sitting there in the hat. And I've got to say, Paul, since last time I saw you, you've removed the beard. Either you've been staying inside a warm house too much, or you've decided the Harry Butler look wasn't working for you.
That was the first thing I noticed, is that you noticed the cold.
Yeah, I bet that. Yeah, and you were planning on getting on a motorbike and riding down to Canberra. I hope you've got something to keep the chin warm when you're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, well, that was the plan a few hours ago. I thought I was jumping on the bike either tonight or early in the morning. To go down there. Done many thousands of kilometers on that bike due to this whole exercise. But on the upside, I've certainly met some lovely souls along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm thankful that you don't have to make that ride. Of course, you could have jumped in the car with me if I was having to go too, but turns out that doesn't have to be the case. So it would have been a bit warmer, I'll grant you that. Might have been a lot more boring listening to me prattle on for 14 hours, but, we'll see what happens.
As much as I love the bike, it's always nice to have a bit of company too, though.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So what are the expectations out of Monday? Do we expect there could be a lessening of charges, a dismissal of some charges, or is this simply a hearing to set a date where we go to court and duke this out?
I mean, a dismissal of charges would be awesome, but it doesn't seem like the system want to play that game, so they seem to be hell-bent on pursuing it. As crazy as it may be.
Certainly that has been the case up until now, but there has been a dramatic element changed in the way that we brought a new player onto the field, and that new player is a game changer. Do you feel that might elicit some review of their position from the DPP? Hard to say, really.
I don't know. I think the way they've been handling it, probably not. But it would be. I think most of us would think it would probably be smart if they did, but I don't think they're going to go down that path. But yeah, at least we'll see. There'll be a. I think out of Monday will be most likely a trial date set. So that's all right.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
So there was a sort of a hearings matter held a couple of days ago. At that point, it looked like it was clear that legal aid weren't going to be part of what you were doing going forward. That matter went through okay. There wasn't any great, well, I don't suppose I can say any animosity or anything like that. Win some, you lose some. It just seems to me that in Canberra's legal aid case, they tend to lose more than they win because they don't fight.
I'm not quite sure, but a lot of things I hear, it sounds like they don't usually like to take anything to trial. It sounds like they're just more looking to do a plea type deal, which is a bit pointless when you. It might be all right for someone that is guilty of something, but when you're innocent of alleged charges, that's a little bit of a different proposal altogether. Doesn't really work. Yeah.
Paul, how are you feeling about this? I mean, it's your life that's in the balance. So How's the last couple of weeks, or particularly the last week or so, now that you've got some reasonable legal support behind you? How are you feeling?
I guess the whole situation from start up until now has been extremely stressful and certainly a bit devastating, since I've had some family things happen in the past, as you all know, with my mother and so on. But it's definitely, it's you feel a bit more confident, certainly moving forward. Legal aid, there's definitely a big part of what Michael was saying. You felt like you were getting pressured to make decisions and go directions you definitely didn't want to go, or is unjust to even go that direction. So
yeah. Now I know you guys. I think you're on Guru's show a bit later on tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I believe that's coming up in about
15 minutes or so.
Well, there you go. I won't hang you up too long. I know that they like to get their people in the room well beforehand, so that they know they're there too. So let's look out for that. JJ, you raised very good points, and everybody who is raising a point about knowing what the brief is of evidence against Paul and all that. We do know the brief. We've seen the brief. We are very well acquainted with the brief. It's kind of why I smirk a lot. And they giggle. Because,
I'm sorry to hear that my stress is contributing to your smoking. It
is. You've got it's not just yours. I stress about a lot of things, so and a lot of people. So you're not just.
Sounds like when I get on top of things, eventually when there's all over, I owe you a pack of cigarettes.
Way I'm going, mate, you might owe me a new finger. But that's a whole other story. So great news. No 14-hour ride in a motorbike, and no trip required to Canberra. But still, we will need to do a bit of an update Monday night, find out what the result was, and of course, if there is a trial date set, hopefully the new legal representation can give us a bit of an indication of how far short we are, and all of us, and by that I mean all Freedom Movement members, particularly in the alt media, I think should band together, get behind you guys, and see what we can all raise together for you. None of us singularly, I don't think, can come up with what's required. I think it will require an effort from all of us. So I hope that we can all unite behind you. You know, I'm right behind you guys. So if we can all unite behind you and get you that legal representation that you require, get your truck back, get you back working again, it'll put you in a much better position for, mind, body, and soul going forward, I think. So I really hope we can help with that.
Yeah, thank you. We'll certainly keep working on it. And thanks to everyone that's been helping support it.
Yeah, mate, you've certainly got a lot of support from people here. They very knowledgeable too, a lot of folks. They're talking about common law alternatives and all that sort of thing. But we're a bit beyond all that at this juncture for a variety of reasons, and don't think we haven't explored many of these paths. However, there's a certain order that things have to play out in, and if you're going to do that right, we could drag it out forever. But the fact of the matter is, the goal is to try and get the vehicle back. They've already had, we believe, one attempt at trying to illegally sell it out from underneath Paul, and I think they're just hovering around like vultures on the side. And there you go. There's some pictures of it that the boys have got. So this is obviously on the day. This is Zeus 1, of course. If you were in Canberra that day, you would have seen her. She was part of a convoy of, I think it was 3 trucks. and we're still wondering exactly how much damage has been done. You might notice that the truck looks a little bit different to a normal truck, a normal semi-trailer. That's because it's had some very custom modifications made to it so that Paul can drive it and essentially turn it into a living space too if he needs to. But it is also a limousine, registered for limousine use. So this is how Paul was going to make a living going forward. And with Uber being what it is, well, I'm not exactly sure what you'd get for doing Uber Eats in that, Paul, but I reckon we might be able to get a few more people renting it off you. And
it depends whether you're trying to feed the zoo with Uber Eats. I mean, it's got enough space.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'm not sure if they do it yet, but you guys would be ideal for Uber Keg. Uber Keg and Spit. Just saying.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of an eye catcher, and we also first thing I did was Gold Coast Car Show, and had it was really popular with kids and so on. They loved blaring the air horn, and most of the people at the car show will vouch for that at the end of the day. Yeah, and it was just so, yeah, it brought such a smile to people's faces. And so on. So, yeah.
Mate, that's awesome. So, well, hopefully we get it back in your hands sooner rather than later. I'll let you guys go because I know you've got a bit on tonight, and I don't want to hang anybody else up. So thank you very much, and I know we're catching up in the morning, so look forward to seeing you boys then.
All right. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Carl.
We'll see you then. The Offe brothers, direct from the Gold Coast, and thank you everybody for your support. If you do want to send a few more bucks to help them get their legal woes under control, they do have a Fundly site. So if you go to freedomtruck.au, it will send you to that, freedomtruck.au. I know it sounds weird. You'd think there's something else in there, like a com or something, but there is not. Freedomtruck.au is exactly where you need to go. Now, have you been over to the VoFHQ website and had a look at that front page? Have you had a look at the graphs that we've got there? And have you figured out anything about them? Do those graphs teach you anything? I hope they have. Maybe they don't. Sometimes they can be a little bit hard to discern, and this is in part why I've put this up this way, so that there are those amongst us who don't see anything, and there are those whose eyes are open, but for whatever reason, just don't see certain aspects. So we're going to leave it open, but go and have a look. If you can't make out all the details on your whatever you're watching this on at the moment, then just go to vofhq.com and have a look on the front page there. You'll also there, if you haven't already done so, go over and become a member. I can tell you that members' competitions are going to form a part of what we're doing going forward, and the only way for you to win will be a variety of what I think are pretty significant prizes. You've got to be a member to be part of it. So vofhq.com, memberships from as little as $1.25 a week. And I know it's tough at this time, but if you want to join, you want to play, then that's unfortunately the only way legally that we can do it. You have to be members, and we will run another members competition in the not too distant future. And I know you are a very creative mob, and I'm looking forward to giving you a couple more challenges. And I say that with a half smirk on my face you are probably seeing. Please do not feel that that's a bit rude. I was getting in a intro to something earlier and it didn't suck in. And we'll see if it does this time. I'm going to try very hard to upload a video that I'd want to play you. Just a little brief one. If it doesn't work this time, I'll just have to do a hand drum roll or something for my intro. So that gives me an opportunity to talk about a couple of other things that are going on in the world at the moment. Thank you to everybody who's contacted me about Dr. Ron Fenwick. I have passed his email address along to many people. I have passed along a great deal of information to a lot of people. He sent me some amazing reading, and I'll get that through to Vince, which we will endeavour to get put up on the Voice of Freedom website as well. He is very grateful for everybody who has contacted him. In fact, he said his last 2 days he's been run off his feet. So thanks, folks. But I know you're only doing what you're doing because you want the help, and what you saw in the show gave you a bit of hope that there might be something there. I personally have directed 3 very close personal friends to him because they're suffering in various different ways. And I've got to say that 2 of them aren't what you'd call awake in any way. And they're in life or death situations, quite literally. And we hope that, that they will take that offer up and go and have a bit of a look. That's part of what the Voice of Freedom is about. Finding out this information, sharing it with as many people as possible. And just in case any troll is wondering, because, you know, they love supporting me. No, I don't get a cut of any sales or anything being sold through Ron at all. So don't begin to start accusing me of that. I am planning to one day go to Macleay Island and go and have a little bit of a look for myself, because I've never been to any of the islands in the bay, ever. And I happen to know an old pirate who's got a boat. Just saying.
We live in a world where the people who run everything were friends with both Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, and those people are giving us a lecture about misogyny. I call bullshit.
And he's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Good evening, Galactic Larrikin number 2, Robert. How are you, brother?
Very good, sir. How are you tonight?
Very good. I know it has been a hair-raising experience in the US Congress, given the current UAP whistleblower testimony that's being put out. But I didn't expect your hair to be standing quite in the direction it is, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I had a bit of a haircut.
A bit?
Yeah, I've got to stick with the look of any sort of conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearing person. I can't look conservative, otherwise, they'll shut your YouTube channel down for sure. So the crazier I look, then.
Well, and I think you've taken the conservative approach, because there's no way that tinfoil is going to slip down over your ears. You just be able to tuck it in there right on top, and look spectacular. So last time we were on, we showed quite a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of new released vision. We did show something known as the Tic Tac video. The commander of the air wing that was responsible for the aircraft that took the video of that Tic Tac has been in front of Congress this week giving evidence. And it turns out that he was in the flight before that aircraft that took the video. They were on a training mission, and as soon as they launched off the Nimitz, they were diverted to the west off California. They found something reasonably interesting. They saw something like a Tic Tac. It did something very unexpected, like disappeared. And
like all known rules of physics.
Yeah. And they flew back to the ship, scratching their tailpipes, wondering what the. They did send out a second ship or 2-ship configuration to go and have a look. And they are the ones that actually managed to film the Tic Tac using their instrumentation on board. We're lucky to get it. So have I given away anything that you were going to talk about?
No, great little thing. The main introduction there is obviously what's been going on in the American Congress, which they slipped into a law. I think we covered that last time. And this is some of the reports that had to come back. And as you said, a few of the what they so-called whistleblowers, but one of the main guys, David Grosh, which we looked at last time, in the Australian media presenter who interviewed. And he was actually tasked, he's with the UAP task force, and he was actually tasked by Congress to investigate this and come back and report. And this is a lot of what he's done. So he's not technically a whistleblower, it's all legit, and he has permission to do all of this and reveal all of this information. So he came back and with a bunch of other ones and gave a quick report. We'll play a quick little video. This is the Australian news presenter again. This is on channel, this is the most important bit I got excited about. This is on Channel 7 mainstream media in Australia here. This it's actually a longer presentation, 20-30 minutes of his, which was released about 24 hours ago, and it's on 7 News YouTube channel. So full mainstream media disclosure. So very interesting. The first, like, just 30 seconds, a quick preview or summary of what they exposed at this sort of congressional hearing.
All right, we're going to get an infinity screen if I add your other screen up at the moment. So you hit play and I'll hit play.
I'll do this first then, if you don't mind.
There we go. There you go.
Huge pivotal moment that there has been a massive, long cover-up lasting 80+ years inside the American government. There has been a concealment of retrieval of non-human spacecraft. There's been a concealment of the existence of multiple species of non-human intelligence to this planet. Incredible as it may seem, the United States government are in possession not only of non-human technology, craft, and other technology, they're also in possession of alien bodies.
So there you go. That was pretty much a quick summary of what they exposed. That one, that the American government or the Central Intelligence Agency or the intelligence agencies have been covering this up for nearly 80 years, and
Wow.
that Roswell was true, and they have recovered the UAPs, or what we would call UFOs, and including some sort of bodies in that. And then have been reverse engineering those products, obviously, as we know. But what he revealed, David Grosh revealed, that there is actually a unit called the Crash Retrieval Unit that is responsible for going and doing and recovering these extraterrestrial vehicles. And then this is all being covered up by the intelligence agencies, and obviously a greater cabal, whoever's behind this. And I guess that's the exciting thing to me, is that that this has been now taken seriously. It's been put in front of the American Congress. It's now on mainstream media, which is just amazing for someone who's been following this for 30+ years. And this is a massive turning point, that this is now going to be acknowledged. And once it's acknowledged, then there's the obvious scientific, any rational person is going to ask, well, okay, well, what's powering these things? What's their energy source? They're not flying around on avgas or petrol or something like that. And this is then what breaks the dam. This is the moment that breaks the dam. One, obviously, it exposes the cover-up and this ongoing cabal who have been able to hide this for 80+ years, but also the exposure of this exposes these other energy systems and this quantum level physics, or new physics, which is completely paradigm changing for our whole humanity. Like, there shouldn't be poor people. There shouldn't be all of these different things, because we have these free energy systems. And all of these hierarchical systems within our Earth's cultures are kept that way to keep certain people or oligarchs' powers in power. So anyway, so to continue, unless you had a comment there, Carl, I'll just continue with this.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, keep rolling. If we're going back to same screen, I'm ready, set, go.
Go.
One of the most powerful oversight bodies of the intelligence community in the US is the ICIG, the Intelligence Community Inspector General. And he has come forward to the Intelligence Community Inspector General and given evidence of all that he knows, including what he purports are the locations of these retrieved craft, the names of the people who are running this program, the names of the people in the Pentagon, the officials who are responsible for blocking its disclosure. He's given them chapter and verse on what was recovered, when it was recovered. The full details are known to the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community of the United States. And also, at the instigation of the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, a letter was sent to the various Senate and House Intelligence Committees, which are the oversight committees for the intelligence services inside the Congress. And that letter made the assertion that the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community of the United States of America determined that Mr. Grush's allegations were urgent and credible. That's an important finding. The Inspector General deemed his allegations credible enough to refer them to the Senate Intelligence and the House Intelligence Committees. And there have been secret hearings where the Senate Intelligence Committee and the House Intelligence Committee have heard evidence under oath from Mr. Grush.
So just there, I mean, it's called Spook, so I had to sort of include the actual sort of the intelligence agents behind this, and this is the important thing, that the head of the intelligence community, the IG, is acknowledging all this, saying it's credible, and actually allowing this to go ahead to be exposed, or disclosed, however you like to put it.
I've been watching a bit of the testimony as it's been going out live. Having been getting out of bed very early in the morning, it's been live at the time, and it's been interesting. A lot of the questions have been enlightening, to say the least, but also the fact that many of the questions, including Golsh's testimony, he wasn't prepared to give the senators in open testimony an idea or a way of getting. He said the answers are in the system. You just don't, you're looking in the wrong places. You don't know where to look, and that's part of the secret. And so one of the senators said, "Oh, well, can you tell us where to look?" And he said, "Yeah, I can, but I'm not going to tell you here in open testimony, but I'm happy to tell you in closed, so, or in a skiff." I must have heard that from him and at least 2 or 3 other Air Force whistleblowers. And when I say Air Force whistleblowers, I'm talking about wing commander level and higher onboard aircraft carriers who were responsible not just for their aircraft and not just for a couple of aircraft in a section of the squadron, but they were responsible for the entire air wing on board the aircraft carrier, and yet they still weren't able to do anything. They weren't able to find anything out. Even that Tic Tac video that we refer to, those tapes are the only visual representation, but it was picked up on radar. Now, normally what happens is in those aircraft, they were flying F-18s, a 2-seater F-18 with a Rio in the back, and they would have taken their vision. When they've landed back on the deck, the pilots go and debrief in one place, the Rios will debrief in a different place, and that's because the Rio is responsible for all the data gathering on board the aircraft. The pilot's just responsible for flying it and shooting anything else out of the sky as it comes down. The Rio does a bit of that too, but he gets to play dogfighting. So they debrief in a completely different way and in a different place. So ordinarily, gun camera tapes, which is what we're essentially looking at when we see the Tic Tac, they are briefed or debriefed against the radar data that the ship was getting and providing. Now, these aircraft don't fly off a ship in the middle of the Pacific and just happen to stumble across something flying, way out to the west of them. They were vectored to it, and they were only vectored to it because the ship got some kind of radar return that they couldn't identify. Hence, an unidentified, aerial production phenomenon. Yeah, I beg your pardon. So how much of this is Project Bluebeam, do you think?
That could definitely be part of it, or that they call deceptive evidence or a false flag in colloquialism. That definitely could be used as part of it, but I'm trying to stay positive and think that this is the disclosure that we've all been waiting for, and this is the the moment that will break the dam, where so many things can then be exposed, whether it's the hidden cabal who's hidden this, or the releasing of free energy and then all the different technologies which go along with that. I've put together a much longer sort of a version of that with Dr. Stephen Greer and going into all of those different things, but it's a good hour and a half, and I know that's a little bit too long for Voice of Freedom. So maybe in the comments, let us know how you'd like us to do that. You want a separate show sometime, or us to put it together just as a movie or something, let us know. But to continue, yep, go ahead. But
sorry, mate. No, keep going.
So just keep this short and sweet, and just a bit of a taste of things. The other aspect of this cover-up is obviously the Mockingbird mainstream media and how they have influenced society and how that works. So the next little section of this video is this news presenter, and his name has gone blank from me. I know Carl would know him very well, but he's gone blank all of a sudden. Of course, when the camera turns on, the brain switches off. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll switch back to my other. Yep. Oops, sorry, that was my fault. There we go.
And it's an incredibly confronting issue to hear these kind of claims when we've all been taught in the media, we've been socially conditioned to accept that this is something that must be ridiculed. But what I now realise from talking to Mr. Grush is that it really has been the case that there's been a deliberate disinformation operation run by the US intelligence community to try and suppress interest and coverage of this issue. The media, we in the media have been taught to ridicule and belittle this subject, to stigmatise it with a taboo that means that it's career suicide to go near it. I've had so many journalistic friends say to me in the years that I've been looking at this subject that I should disengage because I'm putting my career in jeopardy by even engaging with it.
And there we go. That's, two things there, I would say, Carl. One, that another, oops, sorry about that. Oh, excellent. Another news presenter, like similar to Tucker Carlson, who's woken up to how these intelligence agencies manipulate society and manipulate the narrative through the Mockingbird media, the mainstream media, and how they can incentivize people or destroy journalists through their influence and their network. But also the psychological operation by, I said, creating the whole of society, and that's what we've been facing for 30 years plus that I've been involved in this, that the society is programmed or brainwashed, however you want to call it, psyoped into believing that this is all tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff, and you're a wacko for believing in what's in plain sight, it has been in evidence for hundreds or thousands of years in art and these days in photos and everything that's going right on in front of you. And the power of the mainstream media to be able to program or psyop people into believing a certain narrative or completely dismissing a certain narrative. And I mean, we've had a great example of that recently with the pandemic, but this is the longer one that I've been watching for 30 years. And I guess now I'm excited about because it seems like it's actually getting somewhere.
So Starseed has a different opinion on all of this. The Tic Tac's a US Navy SSP. Confirmed, he says. He has a picture of it. He seems to think he's the only person in the world who understands that there is compartmentalization going on in the military and all sorts of areas of it.
All sorts of stuff.
But thanks, Chris, for your input. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All of the above is true. There are multiple projects going on. There are multiple things happening. And there's lots of disinformation and psyops to try and create, all sorts of confusion. All that's been going on. So, yes. But in general, if we look at just the general overall picture, what we can see is that these things are real. They're using technologies which are far beyond what we acknowledge. And what is happening right now, is that it is getting into the mainstream media. It is acknowledged in the American Congress. They are putting definitive things out by the intelligence agencies and the mainstream media. So let's take a win. Let's have some positivity and go, hey, this could be the dam that's breaking. Because by acknowledging this, it also allows universities and studies to be able to acknowledge it, because no longer is it some society crackpot thing. It's actually acknowledged that this is some sort of other type of physics, other type of energy systems. And by allowing it to be acknowledged, that it can be studied in universities and not being taboo and poo-pooed, for another word.
Yeah, 100%. Somebody made a comment up here further. Let me just, somebody made a comment, I think referring to the idea of a Stephen Greer show.
Right.
Would love to have a great show. So I think we should look at Stephen Greer's 3-hour presentation, the National Press Club presentation, and anything he's put out more recently, and put something together. So
I have something prepared all ready to go from his couple of his last podcasts, which we've chopped up and taken the key bits out. But as I said, it's a good hour and a half, to be honest. So
oh, maybe that's something we sit down and record one day, and we'll just upload, and people can watch as they have the time or the desire to do so. All right, well, that's a good idea. We'll sort that out in the not too distant future. Sorry, keep going. I don't mean to interrupt.
Excellent. No, this is sort of the second last little bit. But this is again part of because he still is the mainstream media, and his recognition or his red pilling of how the intelligence agencies manipulate the journalists and control the narrative. Sorry, sir. I'll just go to that one. And
good.
Time a national security reporter or a major masthead has even begun to engage with this issue, they get bought off with a tantalising offer of another story on national security issues that it's made clear if you shut up writing about that issue of UFOs, we'll give you a drop, we'll give you a fee. That's the way it works. And so this is what's been happening. I've spoken to people who have been involved in those disinformation efforts.
And that's part of how they control the mainstream media and the narrative. And part of it's done through this, where they basically call you off, or offer you a carrot, and the carrot and the stick, so to speak. So keep away from that. But here, we'll give you this. We'll give you special access. We'll give you the breaking story. And the other way they do it is literally, because most of these journalists these days are they're contractors, or however they term it. They submit articles and they get paid per article. And they themselves just learn, okay, well, the editors won't buy that story, but they'll buy this story, so I'll print that. And I've talked to them, and they say it's just sort of the culture in the society. You get to know what's acceptable and what's not. Most of the time, it's not even discussed. You just work it out, because you can sell these stories, but you can't sell those stories. You can put together the most incredible story on UFOs, but no one will touch it. And so they go, well, I've got to feed my family, so there's no point doing that again.
Yeah, I agree. Yada makes a very good point, and I think that is going to be the big, or one of the big tipping points for humanity, the release of a new energy system. The fuel energy matrix will be smashed, and everything associated with it, particularly if it becomes an open source energy source, meaning anybody who has the desire can figure out how to use it, and here's everything you need. So, a fairly good thing. I think we should be looking forward to. All right, mate. Well,
sorry, just quickly, as Yada says, it will break the whole system, because it's also, they'll have to acknowledge that this has been covered up for 70, 80 years. So it's how they've done that, but it's also then a whole financial system and all that sort of is based on a lie or a free market. It's not a free market if you're covering up half the technologies. But lastly, one last little 30-second bit, and it was just on Donald Trump. So I knew the audience might like this and his comments about Donald Trump. So just 1 second, I'll switch over.
I know for a fact that Donald Trump has been briefed on what I'm telling you. I know that Donald Trump is in the loop on the phenomenon, on UFOs. I know that to some degree he's been briefed into the existence of the crash retrieval program and the fact that there is a secret reverse engineering program going on in the United States. And the interesting thing is, I've been waiting to see, as Trump comes under increasing pressure in this national security crisis where he's allegedly stolen documents that he ought not properly to have retained. I've been waiting to see whether in anger or in frustration he would reveal what he knows about the phenomenon. And I still think it's possible he may do. There's even been speculation, and I have no basis supporting this, there's even been speculation that some of the documents that he stole related to UAPs, to the secrets that we're discussing.
So the only problem I have with that is he's referring to the documents that Donald Trump stole. He didn't steal any documents.
No.
And
allegedly.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I've been doing a little bit of investigation onto other aspects of Ross, particularly, and the network, of course, that he's associated with. So, I want to believe, I really do, and I'm pretty confident that a lot has been hidden from us, but I'm very cautious about accepting anything from anyone at face value. And I would encourage anybody who's watched this and got a bit of shock or whatever, go out and do your own research. Particularly go and watch the congressional hearings into UAPs. Just type that into YouTube. There is hours of it to watch. The testimony is sometimes boring, sometimes very interesting. And it's interesting to hear the Democrats' arguments for not hearing testimony. I watched a piece today. This is in a different hearing where they were discussing the transgender issue, and there was a video of a doctor who was giving his description of both sides of the surgery required in transitioning, like doing full transition work. Now, the Democrats were so disheartened, so dismayed, so horrified that they tried to bar having the video played to the Congress and therefore available for the public to see. They demanded a vote on the floor, then they demanded a formal vote on the floor. They lost all of that. And so when they lost it, the Republicans said, so now we're going to play the video. All the Democrats got up and walked out. And then that video was played, and I got to tell you, some of the awful things that this bastard revealed with his purple hair and lisp that happened to males, particularly in the transition, because it's not like they cut the penis off. They don't. They actually turn it inside out and use, they cut a hole up into your body and it becomes the inside of the vagina. Then that pocket that they've created, if you like, requires a lining. Anyway, it goes into quite explicit detail about what's going on. It also goes into explicit detail about how little is known about the side effects or the after effects of what they're doing. And that is because there have been no peer-reviewed documents or papers released. It hasn't been studied in any way, shape, or form. All that's happening, particularly with these gender reassignment surgeries, is that doctors are getting a lot of adolescents coming in who seem pretty confused, and they're taking the money and running, not knowing whether or not the surgery they're even performing is the right surgery, if it should be done that way. I mean, sure, you can cut a hole in somebody's body, and just in case you were thinking about doing it, you can say goodbye to your peritoneum, otherwise known as the nunga nunga. I've always thought the nunga nunga was that bit of skin you put between your teeth and let go, and it makes that nunga 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 noise. But it's just an old joke. It's just an old joke. But your peritoneum, if you are thinking of transitioning male to female, that goes. They need the skin. They use it for the lining of the vagina, or the plasto vagina, or whatever it is they call it. Democrats didn't want that released, didn't want that publicly known, didn't want the public to know that's what they support having done, and the fact that they are actively sending children into these sorts of surgeries, and the surgeon doing it doesn't instill a great deal of confidence in me that he is doing it for purely altruistic reasons. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. All right, mate. Thank you for your help tonight.
That's quite all right. Just on mentioning that, also watch that full interview by on the 7 News YouTube channel. It's got about 20-30 minutes. Very interesting. Covers lots of stuff, and he actually mentions that about like why they walk out on them, and it's for a legal reason, so they can keep denying it, so it doesn't happen. No, don't know anything about it. No, if they were there, then they can't say that, so they all walk out, or they won't attend these meetings, so they can basically deny it and say, no, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Ridiculous.
Thank you, trendsetters.
Thank you, buddy. You have a bloody good one, and talk to you again real soon. We'll sort out the Stephen Greer thing. Got a lot of reservations about Stephen Greer. I do. I think he could well be hooked up with the Freemasons, but that's not to say that he isn't also the head of Project Bluebeam, or at least associated with it. Oh, there's a whole heap of things that
it could be.
I have questions for, but I also have looked at a lot of his information, and it's very hard to doubt.
It's hard to doubt. I had the same thing with. I had the same thing with Alex Jones. Watched him for 30, 40 years. And I have reservations, but I got to admit, most of the time he's right.
Yeah, I agree. And all right, buddy. Thanks for your time. You going out over the weekend to do anything wild and exciting?
I'm going to look in the sky for UFOs.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Hope it goes well. All right.
Thanks,
cheers.
mate. Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, folks. What else was I going to talk about here today? Oh, yes. I've got this lovely little picture here A friend of mine is quite incensed that someone we all know and love, being Ricardo and A1, have come out in a couple of Q&As recently and said how much land they're going to give to soldiers and to police before anybody gets anything. I don't know where A1 is getting land to give away or in power, how that's going to work, but apparently the edict will be that soldiers will get land first, and I have no problem with people who serve this nation getting rewarded for it with a bit of land. Just point that out. But before everybody else, police, they haven't exactly done their job yet. Don't think we should be rewarding them for anything. If they're going to have a bit of land, it better have a tree on it. That's all I'm saying. However, in the Army's case, there's this bloke. And yep, this captain's choice is to wear female uniform overalls as part of the gender diverse policy. I'm not completely sure why you would want the baggy or overalls. There might well be some technical reason. And you can see where the baggy bits are. Anyway, it's a bit of fun. So for those of you who've been watching over the last couple of days, you will have heard that I was been working at Bay FM, doing a bit of breakfast radio fun. That all came to an end this morning. Not because of anything, well, I'm not going to say not because of anything the trolls did, but not directly because of anything the trolls did. We made a bit of an error here, and I'm going to take full responsibility for it. We put something up on the website overnight that probably shouldn't have gone up under broadcasting laws. And rather than create issues for the station, what was put up was taken down as soon as sort of I was made aware of it. But damage is done. I don't want to create the issue for the radio station and let them go off and do their own thing. I'm quite happy to do that. But it has inspired me, and given the trolls' reaction to me working on radio and doing a brekkie radio show, it has inspired me somewhat. So let me just go back to the chat screen for a second because I'm not in there, and I'll try and scroll down past a heap of your comments. I apologize. I'll go back. How would you like a Voice of Freedom breakfast show streamed like this? Couldn't do it on YouTube. Might be able to do it on Facebook, but let's be honest, I don't think there's a terrible number of people watching on Facebook. I could certainly do it on the Rumble channel, and there are other channels like that I could stream to. I could do that from just about anywhere, anytime. And I'm just thinking, playing a bit of music, because that's the killer on YouTube, the music, right? I can't play music. And who wants to hear me talk for 3 hours every morning? I'd have to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning to prepare everything to start, say, at 6 o'clock in the morning. But if that is something you would like, then please let Rachel know. Now, Rachel's coming on board to give me a bit of a hand with admin and all these sort of things. So I'm going to start giving you Rachel's email address. If you need to get her or me, then Rachel is probably the best person to talk to. So Rachel at vofhq.com. I have a little bit of gadgetry here. So I could have you as part of this breakfast program as well. You'd be able to ring in, that kind of thing. So could certainly do it, and I would be more than prepared to try and get out of the bedroom and go and do it from some more scenic places and plug another couple of cameras in. And that could be anywhere, any location, particularly if you've got a business that's open for breakfast, does coffees early in the morning, and you're looking for maybe a little bit of promotion and you're not too far from where I am, then might be able to come and do breakfast at your place. I've also had some exciting news today where the Voice of Freedom will get a Brisbane home. All right? it'll be my place, for the want of a better term. It will be a very intimate venue. Depending, we will have probably only 100 invited guests available to every show. It will be a very exclusive venue, and we will do some pretty cool things in those shows. I have been told that we might be able to get this access to this venue in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. So if you are interested in coming to a Brisbane show, and we'll make it quite a special show as an opening one, it would, I'm not going to give you the address or tell you where it'll be. This will be an invite-only show. You'll have to, I'm not sure, there may be a donation required at the door to cover some costs. Or we might put $10 on the ticket or something. I don't know. We'll try and figure out how that'll be. But my goal is here just to cover costs. But the venue is spectacular, and it will afford us the ability to do a great deal of new content. And many of you, I think, will get quite a buzz out of the venue itself, but also many of the products that it produces. So that'll be some big news, 3 or 4 weeks coming, and we will have a big opening show from there. And like I say, it will be an exclusive show. We will also have a Voice of Freedom My Place, which will be my place, venue of my choosing, and essentially wherever I turn up, it'll be my place. Unless it's your place that I'm going to. Of course, it'll be your my place if I'm going to your my place. But this will be in Brisbane. If you want tickets and you're interstate, I can't help you with air tickets, or if you want to drive up or anything like that. But if you do want to come, can guarantee you that the date won't change, the place won't change, and we will definitely be doing shows, so you won't make the trip for nothing. It will be worth your while. It won't be a 1 hour long show, and it will not be streamed live on anything. It will be recorded and replayed, but for other variety of reasons, initially this first one we will fully pre-record and then post-play. But I reckon it won't be long, and we'll just be doing them live. So these will be maybe once a month, if there is that sort of interest where you want to get together with me once a month in Brisbane. And of course, that might change if I'm on the road. Vince and the crew in South Australia, hello everybody there. We're working on getting down to you. We're working on the last 3 weeks have just been insanely busy, folks. Insanely positive, I have to say. And thank you to everybody who's made contact with me about potentially investing in the idea that Cass Smith is putting together to get the Voice of Freedom out on the roads and into your place, giving your voice an opportunity to be heard much more broadly. I've had a couple of emails, a couple of text messages, and some people have asked to be put in contact. So I've done that. Haven't had an opportunity to speak with Cass about any of that just yet. Moving forward, look, it may or may not happen. We are trying to raise a reasonably significant amount of money, but it's done on a company basis. If you're going to come in, you'll come in as a company investor. And from there, you'll have control of the asset that we're looking at purchasing. And obviously, if it all falls tits over, then you sell the asset and everybody gets their money back. So it's not a donation or anything like that. If you can and decide you want to be part of what will be something very, very big, something very special, could be the creation, what we're aiming to create, will certainly be unique, and it will be groundbreaking in many ways. But it doesn't come for free. And unfortunately, I know it's tough times for everybody. And I guess that's part of the battle that we are all being tested with at the moment, being able to push through. And if we can help, we help. If we can't, we can't. I don't have much by way of means to help people. And but what I have is yours. and if I can help you in any way, then I will. For instance, I've got everything I own practically is in storage, and everything that my daughter owns is in storage. I happen to own 2 fridges, one in her storage unit, one in the other. She's got a girlfriend whose fridge died, and she has 3 kids under 9 at home, and so I've given her one of those fridges. They're no use to us. They sit in a storage unit, and they have been in that storage unit for a long time because we can't find our own roof to put over our own head. So no point leaving it there. If we can empty those storage units, and there's less cost going out every month for us too. So it's a win-win for everybody. So if you can help, you can help. If you can't, you can't. It's all good. And if it's an exciting opportunity to be part of. Some people won't see it that way, and you are welcome to that thought. But if you do want to learn more, then email me, Carl at VoFHQ. I was going to say Rachel, but she doesn't have Cass's email address yet. So send it to me, and I'll pass those details through to Cass, and she can make contact with you and explain the company structure and what is planned going forward, at least from a perspective of protecting whatever investment you decide you might like to jump in with. What else have I got to tell you? Better go back to the Voice of Freedom homepage, and we will make a valiant attempt at, let me just find the right bloody screen. We make a valiant attempt to figure this out. So what does this teach you, these graphs? So you can see up the top here, it says age groups, 20 to 45, 45, 65, 65, 75, 75, 85, 85 plus. Colors indicate, what they indicate. Cities, or countries rather, down the left-hand side. Numbers, starting at 0 here in the middle, you'll know to the left it goes 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. To the right, it counts in 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 250. Now, on this side, the right side, what you are viewing is exactly the same data, but this is the excess death rate per 100,000 persons and years. What you are seeing here, to see this significant reduction in death rates, what's different? It's that this is being counted in tens, okay? This over here is being counted in multiples of 50. So it's going to shrink the data down and make it look like this is all still being counted in the same way. So it's still got all this beautiful, large, blue, friendly looking stuff, and all this evil, ugly, red, dark, orange stuff. Oh no, now it's all gone away. But it simply, by the amount of, well, I'm not sure if that's age or years that it's being viewed over. So this is how they manipulate data on you folks. They throw it in your face and they tell you, oh, look, we're doing this and it's done that and it's done that. And it's in the small print. You only look at the beautiful colors and the way that they put the graphic together and think, oh, that's nice. But it's in the detail. Never has a truer word been spoken at any time in history than now. Read the fine print, folks. Read the small writing at the bottom of things, because it holds the key to understanding the deception that these bastards are playing. So, yeah, play around with that for a little while. As I said, if you are remotely interested in getting a VoFHQ breakfast show going, I'm very keen to do it. And I want to be able to play a bit of music. So if you have requests, that kind of thing, I might be able to play that. I am looking at investing in a music library that will enable me to do that. When I say investing, I happen to have a mate who's got one. And we might be able to share favors, mates doing mates favors. So we'll see what happens. If you are interested in that, please email Rachel at vofhq.com, RACHEL at vofhq.com. And Rachel can start getting a bit of a list together. If you do want that, send in your request. What's your favorite song? What do you want to hear? And I will endeavor to put something together might be sooner rather than later because I'm a bit motivated and the body clock's woken up again now. So I'm used to getting out of bed at sort of 4:30 in the morning. That's why I look like shit this time of night. So let me have a think about how we can do this. And oh, well, who am I bullshitting? I've been thinking about how we're going to do this since 9:10 this morning. So trust me, we are going to do this if you want it. I know how we're going to do this if you want it. But there is no point if there is no demand. And with demand, comes the opportunity for sponsorship. So, yeah. Linda, you look like I need a rest. Yes, Linda, I do. I've been out of bed since 4:30 this morning. I have been driving around, working hard, been on the phone, staring at computers, and I'm afraid at this end of the day, at this end of the week, this is about the best you can expect from me. I'm not a deeply attractive man. I'm afraid it only gets worse as the week goes on. I haven't even had a shave. You may have noticed that. I did manage to brush my hair. Well, that was at about 4:45 this morning. It hasn't done bad. I drive around with the window down a lot, though, so it gets a bit of a windblown look. So, yeah, if you're interested, folks, pardon me, getting a dry throat. Pardon me, just... Oh, if only that was whiskey. I'd be speaking a little like this now, but it's not whiskey. It's just plain old red cordial. You know me. All right, guys, girls, lovelies, ladies, and gentlemen, thank you for your support. As I was saying earlier, VoF HQ is the place to go if you want to go and check out that graph. You can also help us if you'd like to join and be a member, or if maybe you just like to help out with a donation. There has been a bit of, well, I'm not exactly sure what movement there on our friend who is being, well, what we think is unjustly incarcerated and could well be suffering elder abuse from a family member, being made to pay a terrible price because he is a truth talker. And he is a doer. He takes action, and he has been an action man in his area for some time. He has a serious website, or has had a serious website up, that has charted the corruption of Far North Queensland and the officials involved. And it is those forces that are arrayed against him and working at this time. And they have an ally from an unexpected source. So, yes, there has no doubt been some interesting movement today, and I hope to have an update further for you on that next week as well. Keep an ear out for Monday. We will find out what happens with Paul's hearing in the Supreme Court on Monday morning. That'll likely just be setting a date, but fingers crossed, put him in your prayers, that the DPP sees common sense and withdraws all charges and offers him the opportunity to get the vehicle out of the impound yard immediately without any codicils that he has to sign saying he's not going to sue them for damages on the truck. That would be the ACT Federal Police. So, because there will be no document signed like that. I believe there has been significant damage to the truck. Could be $30,000 or more worth of damage to the vehicle. So, and that's because of their complete incompetence and the fact that nobody, even after Paul offered to move it for them. Anyway, there is a lot of, it's been, there's been a lot. So hopefully Monday is the beginning of the end for this, if not the end totally for Paul Offe and his entire family. God knows they have suffered enough. So, please put them in your prayers. Thank you again, folks, for the support that you continue giving me. And that comes from a prayer level, from the donations that I get, and from the goodwill messages that I receive. In fact, some of the inspiring messages that I receive, you make me blush sometimes, folks. I don't know that I'm worthy of some of the comments that you are sending me, but I deeply appreciate them, and thank you. You don't have to send me those comments and compliments. I don't chase them. My ego doesn't need the compliment. It's healthy enough, and And all I'm trying to do is the best I can for you. That's it. So, as I would hope you would do for me if the situation were reversed in some way. So we're all in the same family. We're all in the same fight. We all have different tools to use. You're watching mine. So this is the way I can help. And if anybody has any other way I can help you, particularly if you own a business. Do you own a small business that has a product that you can pack up and send somewhere? If that's the case, might be able to help you sell a bit of that product, and that would help fund a radio show and a bit more. Can't tell you it all, but if you have a business and you want support from people, and you're not afraid of trolls, don't be afraid of the trolls. The Freedom Family will support you. They don't have to walk into your business to do that. They can buy online. And if you have a product worthy, then let me share it. Let me show people. All right? And I'm not looking for any kind of kickback from that. I want your business to succeed. If you're in the manufacturing business, I want you to grow. I want you to teach. I want others to learn from you so that whatever field they choose, they know that if it's manufacturing, they have people behind them to mentor them, to show them how it's done. There is a gentleman down in Singleton. He's a very shy gentleman, a very quiet gentleman, a very reserved gentleman, but a very, very smart man. He has a manufacturing business that is going gangbusters, all from an idea he had out of slaving away under a machine one day. Now, there are thousands of you out there just like him, thousands of you. You're just lacking the opportunity to maybe take that next step with your idea or whatever. Well, I want Voice of Freedom to be able to give you that opportunity. And like any free market, any free capitalist market, I guess, you live and die by the quality of your product and price. So if you've got something that people see as valuable, as worthy, and given that, they could choose to buy it from a shop in their local town, I never thought I'd be saying this, but they could choose to buy it from a shop in their local town, but that shop kicked them out during the lockdowns, or demanded they wore masks, or they're 5 times jabbed, and if you go in there, somebody's always got a cold. I don't care. Buy online from a fellow member of our family. And if we can create a family of businesses, and I don't care if it's a home craft business you have, if you have the ability and can legally sell whatever it is that you are producing, I'm glad I remembered to say that legally bit, then I want to give you a platform to sell it on. Okay? Simple as that. And if you choose to give back to Voice of Freedom in some way, that is up to you entirely. But that will not be a codicil of my help. There'll be varying different levels we can provide, but nothing can be done for nothing, particularly on the scale of what we are proposing. But we can certainly do it at mates rates that are very competitive. And particularly for members of the Freedom Family. It would be very hard for me to go to commercial advertisers, in the mainstream media and say, come over and advertise with me, given that we've spent 2 years attacking most of them for varying different reasons, and would continue attacking them, particularly for their stance on continuing the mandates that have been backed off now by the governments completely. So anyway, I guess that's enough of a rant tonight. I've gone nearly 1.5 hours again. I just keep on going, don't I? So thank you, everybody, for tuning in again tonight. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And thank you again for supporting the Offe boys. They are a couple of decent gentlemen. And Paul certainly does not deserve to be in the position that he's in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sure Monday, it'll just be a new page, maybe a new chapter, but hopefully one of the last chapters in the Freedom Truck saga, and we get him back at work very soon. It'll be best for the family, best for Paul. It'll do wonders for his mental health. And God knows we're all suffering from our own battles in different ways. Some mental health, some physical health, some, well, other ways. Spiritual health might be the best way of putting it. I saw a question in there asking me about my experience from the airport and whether I was able to process that any further. I will say still processing, still working through a lot. I'm glad I've taken this time. There is a lot to assess. Many things that I missed. I've got an interview here that I still have to cut up, and I haven't decided whether or not I'll even play it in the show yet. I will give it back to Uncle Juma, but yeah, I'm not sure that I'll play it yet because I get certain things out of it, and I still want to be able to tell you what I'm getting out of it rather than just saying, "Oh, there you go, watch this." So hopefully, I'll get into that at some point over the weekend. I have an extremely busy weekend lined up. Bit of a road trip tomorrow. I'm catching up with the Offe boys for a little bit of help they're giving me on a project which is related to the company. So if you could, give us prayers for that one, that'd be helpful. But those boys are very mechanical, so I'm getting a bit of their mechanical help tomorrow. And Sunday, another road trip out into the beautiful Brisbane Valley. So might do a live from out there somewhere, but that will only go up on the YouTube channel None2K because when I do a live, I can only do it off the phone and it only goes to one channel. Unless I bring that other, well, maybe we'll see how it goes. I might be able to bring another bit of equipment. We'll see how that works. There might not be any phone service out there either. Monday, we'll catch up with what happened in court with the Offes, and there might be one or two other little bits to announce as well. Thanks again for your support, folks. Please be safe if you are going out over the weekend, if you are hitting the roads. There have been some really shocking accidents all over Australia, different parts of Australia in the last, 4 or 5 weeks. So just take it a bit easy, folks. There are always dickheads out there. If you're going that little bit slower, you're less likely to get hit by one.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?